Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for the games of Week 17 for the 2019 NFL season. Anyway, first thing up is, as far Buffalo's going to be at home against the New York Jets. I'm going to take the Jets on the road to defeat the Buffalo Bills. The Jets right now, I know they're near the bottom or at the bottom number of statistical categories, but they are playing much better as of late. They've won 5 of their last 7. This game for Buffalo is insignificant as far as their playoff positioning goes. They got their number 5 seed locked up right now. They're probably going to rest the starters for at least the majority of the game. The Jets are finishing right now, very strong. They would like to finish 7-9 as opposed to 6-10, I would think, and finish the season strong. They've won again 5 of their last 7. They've been on a little bit of a rampage lately. I believe they also would like to avenge that loss they had to Buffalo earlier in the season. So I'm going to take the Jets on the road. Well, the next game, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns on the road to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this game is just for pride for both teams. Cincinnati's only won one game this season. Cleveland had very high expectations this season. They certainly may have been the most underachieving team this season. Running back Nick Chubb, I would expect him to play in this matchup because I think for at least for some individual award anyway for getting the number one for finishing number 1 in rushing yards in the NFL, and he would have a better chance obviously if he played because he's number 1 in the NFL in rushing yards going in. So I think he'd like to be number 1 going out the game. So that's something to be a reason to play, and I think they have a better chance obviously of winning with Nick Chubb's in the lineup. Cincinnati is. Their run defense is abhorrent, number 32 in the NFL. They've only averaged about 16 points per game. I believe that's dead last in scoring offense. Running back Joe Mixon, and he needs like 25 yards to get 1,000, so he'll probably play at least part of the game. Now, but I do believe Cleveland into better personnel. I would expect them to put some of their starters in this game, and I expect them to win on the road. So next game, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win at home over the Washington Redskins. Now, Dallas Cowboys right now, they got to play with some urgency. There's a lot at stake in this game for them. They can't obviously worry about Philadelphia. Philadelphia can control their own destiny. If they win, of course, they're in the postseason. But Dallas needs to win and some help from Philadelphia in order to get in. And the help from Philadelphia, of course, is them losing. Dallas right now, number 1 in total offense. They're one of the better rushing teams in the league, and also number 2 in passing yards. They just don't have the record to really justify what they've done statistically. In this game, though, I don't think they'll have to worry too much going against the Washington Redskins. The Redskins are just deplorable. They're 0-5 in their division. They've lost 3 straight. The only thing that's going for the Redskins, their offense has been fairly decent over the last 2 games. They have scored like 62 points in the last 2 games, but overall number 31 in total offense and just 2-5 on the road in 2019. I think Dallas goes in with urgency and they emerge victorious. I like the Cowboys at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers on the road to defeat the Detroit Lions. Green Bay is 5-2 on the road this season. It's just simply, and they're also, they have one of the fewest. They're up there in terms of fewest giveaways in the NFL. They beat Minnesota pretty handily in their last game, and for Green Bay has swept Minnesota this season. I don't think they should have any problem against Detroit. Matt Stafford is likely not playing. Detroit has lost 8 consecutive games. They are reeling right now. They're number 32 in passing yards allowed per game. Their pass defense is terrible. And I think Green Bay is going to have a field day on Detroit's secondary. And Green Bay will likely have something to play for in terms of their playoff positioning. Even though they made the playoffs, they may be able to get a higher seed if they do win, and perhaps some help from some other teams. So anyway, I'm taking Green Bay on the road. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win at home over the LA Chargers. Kansas City right now, Their defense has been nearly flawless over the last 5 games. They have only allowed about 10 points per game in that 5-game winning streak. They do have incentive in this game because if they win and let's say New England happens to lose, Kansas City can actually get a first-round bye. Now it's really New England probably will not lose their game, but Kansas City does have a chance to get a little higher playoff positioning. Now you look at this game as well. The Chargers right now are 0-5 in their division. They are reeling. They've lost 5 of their last 6. This was a team that had such grandiose expectations going into the season. Some people thought they might actually be able to get out of the AFC and go to the Super Bowl, but they have just really have fallen on their faces. They're -16 in turnover differential, and they may have been ravaged with injuries during the season. Has not helped matters. The thing about it is they've only scored 27 points in the last 2 games. Kansas City's offense is phenomenal. They're going to be at home. They're going to have Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. I think it's going to be too much for the Chargers to contend with, and their defense has been playing at a very high level in recent weeks. I like Kansas City at home. Next game. I want to take the Minnesota Vikings at home over the Chicago Bears. Now, Minnesota is obviously going to be seeking retribution against the Bears and avenge that loss they had to them earlier this season. Minnesota is a flawless 7-0 at home, and they're definitely going to want to redeem themselves after the poor play they displayed last week and all this talk about Kirk Cousins not being able to win on Monday Night Football. Chicago has lost 2 straight. They have nothing really to play for but pride in this game. They're only averaging like 17 points per game. Their kick return average may be one of the few things going for them, and they've only scored like 16 points over the last 2 games. Minnesota right now, they may be able to get a higher playoff positioning with this win. They do have incentive to win this game, and I believe they would want to go in the playoffs on a high note rather as opposed to losing. So I'm going to take Minnesota to win at home. Well, next game, I'm going to take the New England Patriots to win at home over the Miami Dolphins. I mean, New England has been nearly invincible at home in recent time, 22-1 in their last 23 home games. They certainly have incentive to win this game because if they were to lose and Kansas City were to win their game, New England would have to play in the first round of the playoffs. And I really don't think Tom Brady and company really want to play 3 playoff games as opposed to 2. So, I mean, for those reasons and the fact they're just head and shoulders better than Miami, I do like them in this one. New England, despite all their criticism and all the cynics and skeptics out there that's saying that this team is on the decline, Tom Brady's skills are deteriorating, this and that, they are 12-3. And look at Miami right now. Miami has actually played better in recent time. They're 4-4 in their last 8 games, but just they're an abysmal 1-6 on the road this season, number 32 in rushing yards per game. And the thing about it is they're also allowing about 31 points per game. They're one of the worst scoring defenses in the league. New England in this game, I mean, they really has played well. New England has played well against Miami in recent years. I believe they will win this one, and they will be 13-3 after this game. I'm going to take New England at home. Now the next game. The next game has the makings to actually be more competitive than maybe it would have appeared at the beginning of the season. Now, Philadelphia, I'm going to take them on the road to defeat the New York Giants. Now, the Eagles can control their own destiny. They win this game, they win the division. The thing about it is, I mean, Philadelphia has really improvised strongly with a very depleted lineup. They have been ravaged with injuries. There were some of their receivers gone for a good part of the season, and yet they find themselves at 8-7, an ability now positioned to win the division with the win over the Giants. The Giants' offense has been rejuvenated over the last 2 weeks. They've scored like 77 points. Now, I'm thinking the Giants will likely start Daniel Jones in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Eli Manning finishes it, especially if the Giants are losing bad in the fourth quarter. They're getting annihilated. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Giants, I mean, they are going to play for some pride. They would like Eli Manning. I think this is likely going to be his last game as a New York Giant. It's his swan song, so to speak. And I do believe the Giants are going to try to win this one if they could at least do it for Eli Manning, but they're going to fall short, I believe. I like Philadelphia to still get this one in a close game. The Giants did play Philadelphia close early in the season, and this game could be very competitive as well. But I'm taking the Eagles on the road. They're playing to win the division and make the postseason, so I'm going to take the Eagles on the road. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. Anyway, well, the next game, I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons on the road to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta has been on a roll lately. It's a little bit too little too late, but they have been very respectable in recent time. They've won 5 of their last 6. The Matt Ryan, Julio Jones combination is still lethal. Julio Jones had like 166 receiving yards last week. I expect him to get at least 100 receiving yards in this one. They're number 3 in passing yards per game, but you look at Tampa Bay, they're number 1 in passing yards per game. Tampa Bay is 7-8 right now. They are very respectable. They are at home. This could be a very tight game, and Tampa Bay is averaging like 29 points per game. But they're also up there in giveaways. They have 38 giveaways on the season. There's a little bit of propensity to turn the ball over, so I'm going to take Atlanta in this one. I think they make fewer mistakes. They win the turnover battle and win this game, so we'll take the Falcons on the road. Next game. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints on the road to defeat the Carolina Panthers. The Saints do have something to play for. They may be able to get themselves a higher seed by winning this game and perhaps getting some help from at least one other team. If 49ers lose and the Saints win, the Saints could be in a position that would be higher than the 49ers. Now, the Saints right now, they're number 5 in their run defense. Carolina, I think, will likely start running back Christian McCaffrey in this one to give him a chance at the rushing title this season. Right now, he is in second place in rushing yards in the NFL behind Nick Chubb. But Carolina is reeling right now. They've lost 7 consecutive games, but they do have something going for them. Their defensive front, the pass rushers have been phenomenal. They got 52 defensive sacks this season. In New Orleans, though, has 49 defensive sacks. So it's basically, there are some things in this game where these teams seem fairly even, except right now New Orleans, their offense is playing much better than Carolina's. So I'm going to, and the Saints are just playing better, period. So I'm going to take the Saints 6-1 on the road this season. I think they make it 7-1 on the road and win this game. Next game. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to win on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Colts right now, well, they're not really the ignominious because they actually have not been too bad this season. I believe they're 7-8. Would like to finish the season at 500. They have won the last 2 or 3 against the Jaguars. This might actually have the makings of a fairly competitive game. And the Jaguars have lost 6 of 7. They have not looked well. They basically, I think they everything but packed this season, and they're averaging just 17.5 points per game. And they really have not. They really have only averaged about 13 points per game over the last 4. They do not look good right now. Jacksonville, I believe, will lose this game. The Colts want to finish the season strong, I believe, and finish with respectability. So I'm going to take the Colts on the road to win. Next game. Well, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens, actually, to win this one at home over the Steelers. I understand the Steelers have more to play for. The Ravens have wrapped up their number 1 seed. I don't know if we're going to see the ravenous defense in this one. But, I mean, the Ravens right now, I think even by putting a lot of their second starters in this game, they could still win it being at home because Pittsburgh right now, their offense has looked anemic. They've only scored 20 points over the last 2 games. I don't know if the quarterback for the Steelers is going to be able to go in there and get this job done. Pittsburgh, as far as their passing game, has not looked very good. Baltimore, I mean, they're number one in time of possession. It wouldn't surprise me if they tried to milk this clock in this game, dominate time of possession, find a way to win it. I just don't know if the Steelers can really sustain enough drives, offensive drives in this game to win. And Pittsburgh right now, and I don't know if Connor, the running back, is even going to be available in this one. So I'm going to take Baltimore to win this one at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to win on the road against the Houston Texans. Now, Tennessee has been, rather enigmatic this season. We don't know who's really going to show up. It seems like a lot of these games where Tennessee is anticipated to win, they lose, and then the opposite happens. When they're expected to lose, they come out and emerge victorious. Running back Derrick Henry, his status is uncertain. In this game, though, Houston likely will have their spot set by the time this game begins, because Kansas City is likely going to beat the Chargers. And if Kansas City wins that game, Houston has their spot set. And I think what's going to happen is Houston will know their positioning by the time this game starts, and they're going to know they're not going to have any incentive to really play their starters, at least not that much. And Tennessee is fighting for a playoff spot. So for those reasons, I'm going to take the Titans. The thing the Titans need to be worried though is they've allowed 56 sacks this season. They got to give their quarterback a little better protection. They're able to do that, they should win. I'm taking the Titans on the road. Next game, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos to win at home over the Oakland Raiders. Denver right now, actually, despite their general poor play, they are 4-3 at home. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. Their quarterback that has been inserted right now in their lineup has actually played well during those 4 games. It was just a one bad loss to the Chiefs, like 23-3 or something. They just did not play well against the Chiefs in that one game. But Oakland right now, their playoff hopes are minuscule. They still have an outside chance, but it may already be decided by the time the game starts that they won't be making it, especially if you've got Pittsburgh winning their game. Pittsburgh will be 9-7, and the best Oakland could do would be 8-8. That would mean Oakland would be eliminated from playoff contention, and that could actually happen. Even though I do like Baltimore to win their game. Now the thing is, Oakland and Tennessee is probably going to win their game, so Oakland really doesn't have much chance of making the postseason. They have some erratic play from quarterback Derek Carr. Denver has a very good pass defense. They're number 6 in the league in pass defense. I think they will play well enough to end the season on a little bit of a flourish and on a winning note. So I'm going to take Denver at home. Well, the next game, I've been mulling back and forth on this. I'm going to take the Rams at home over the Arizona Cardinals. It's just mainly on virtue of the Rams being at home that I'm going to take them. Both teams are playing for pride right now. Neither one is going to make the postseason. You look right now, the Rams certainly underachieved. Arizona has not really played that poorly. Their record is not good, but they've really they've been competitive in most of their games. They're number 31 in pass defense, though, and they lost 34-7 to the Rams earlier this season. That was at Arizona. So I really don't see it being a lot different in this one, except it might be closer because this game is insignificant. Neither of these teams have anything to play for but pride. The Rams would like to finish the season with a winning record at 9-7. That's about their main incentive right now, and finish on a strong note. And I don't know if they really want to go down to Arizona, as far as losing to Arizona and in the final game of the season. Chandler Jones for Arizona is a beast. He's leading the NFL in sacks right now. They have some swagger after beating the Seahawks, but I think it's not going to really matter because the Rams are just going to they're outmanned by the Rams. I don't expect Arizona to duplicate what they did in consecutive weeks and do what they did to Seattle the previous week to the Rams this time around. I'm going to take the Rams at home. Last but not least, well, I'm reluctantly going to take the Seattle Seahawks at home to defeat the San Francisco 49ers. The Seattle right now has re-signed Marshawn Lynch, and this might actually help propel them to victory in this one. Not necessarily because Marshawn Lynch is going to make a big impact on the game based on what he can do on the field, but I think his presence can be an inspiration to the team. Now, San Francisco, though, they're looking to avenge a loss to Seattle earlier this season at San Francisco. They're seeking retribution in this game. They're 6-1 on the road. They're one of the better scoring offenses in the league, and they would like to, if they win this game, they will win the division in this one, and that could mean something because it gets them a higher playoff seeding. Seattle wins this game, they're going to win the division. Seattle being at home, the fact that they lost last week to Arizona and completely demoralized by them, I do see them bouncing back and winning because Seattle rarely loses consecutive games. And it's really hard for me to say, well, the San Francisco going to be swept by Seattle, but it is conceivable, and I'm going to take Seattle to get this done at home. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.